What's up, all day family? It's Brett. It's Lofa. The conversation before the mic's fired up, we're still chuckling about. But welcome to the show. We'll let you in on it. Actually, I've got complaints about the Seahawks. I've got complaints about my family. I've got all kinds of complaints around here.
Right? 'Tis the season, right?
Oh, man. Oh, you guys, big game this weekend between the Seahawks and the Minnesota Vikings. Seahawk fans need to show up. They need to show out. They need to not sell their tickets. They need to be wearing blue and green to drown out all of the purple and hopefully no more yellow. Too much yellow last weekend, Lofa. Where do you want to
and more yelling?
Yeah, no kidding. Where do you want to start? You want to start with the team, the Seahawks on the field, injuries and things like that, and then move to the fans, or you want to start with the fans and move to the team? Dealer's choice.
Let's start with the people in this chat that are watching this, the fans. Let's go there first, right? Because what we saw was disgusting. All right, Go Pack, go. I probably would have killed somebody on the field and then maybe crawled into the stands if that ever happened when I was playing. Like, I don't know. I couldn't take it up there.
Yeah, man. I mean, we got into it on the live episode after the game, of course. It's probably one of the biggest topics in Seahawk land, except for Geno Smith. I mean, I wish we were talking more about our quarterback and the football than the fans in the stands, because it's pathetic, guys. DK Metcalf said, right? Go for it, Lofa. You had this one.
Yeah. Well, specifically, and not that you have any say over who you sell your tickets to, but he said, don't sell your tickets. And if DK said it, that's law. All right. That's not me and Brett saying it. That's DK. And you don't want to have to see DK.
Yeah. This is a big issue, man. It's more layered than just as easy as don't sell your tickets to opposing fans, because how would you know who you're selling them to? That's almost impossible. It's also hard to ask people not to sell their tickets when they pay so much for these tickets, and then these ticket prices are so high that they can pay themselves back by selling these tickets. So there's like an economical question here around the finances in the whole thing. And how about the Seahawks? I'm sorry, I just wanted to get to this. What about the Seahawks? Couldn't the Seahawks do something about this? And instead of us yelling at other fans and fighting amongst each other, how about we try to get the actual Seahawks involved in trying to right this ship, pun intended, with the Vikings coming in town?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so many things there. Seahawks involved, all of that, but you can't. Tickets have become like a fucking timeshare. All right. Like, just like you're saying, people like, oh, well, they're expensive. They're expensive as hell. Yeah. And the way to keep people from selling is to win. I think we're like 3-4 or 3-5 at home. We're phenomenal on the road. Like we one more road win and we set like a franchise record for road wins. So that's why, should we, I don't want to say the P word, but should we get into the playoffs, I'm actually confident we'll do well, because it'll pretty much all be on the road other than the first one, because we have to win the division to get in, and that would give us a home game, which kind of scares me.
Yeah.
Hopefully no one sells then, right? But Hawks, we're all involved here. Hawks have to put a better product at the home games, because when people were buying and it was rocking from my generation through the Legion of Boom, it's because we were going to win and people were going to get excited and have, positive energy and feelings from that. But, now it's like, oh shit, no, I could leave there feeling drained of my energy and my wallet. So I understand it from the fans' perspective, but so those are my thoughts.
I think there's a lot of blame to go around in a lot of places. I mean, the Seahawks quite literally, I think, are one of the only teams. There's only a few teams in the NFL that do this like dynamic pricing thing, which is kind of like buying airline tickets. The prices go up, the prices go down, depending on the day, depending on the hype. So there's some quite literally like policy things they might be able to do. I just think like, also the experience in the stadium, and not from the Seahawks, because that experience primetime at night was awesome. The LED lights, Blitz coming, zip lining and stuff.
The Safeway drone show.
Dude, the Safeway drone show. Shout out to Safeway. the product, the entertainment product that they provide, I think is great. I'm talking about the fans a little bit here. Now, like, what has happened? Because I was being a little goofy in my seat during the primetime game. There was one drive where we got first downs, and I was like really motioning for the first down. And Seahawk fans in the section were like, "What's this guy doing?
Were they disgusted?
Why is he so loud? Why is he so like boisterous? Like, what is this silliness at a football game?" And I'll tell you, and I told you, I think at the time, the alcohol enforcement was even looking at me like, "Why is this guy so
must
crazy?
be wasted. He must be wasted."
I was having fun. The referee made a bad call at one point, which they are known to do, and I just yelled out, "Get a real job!" And this Seahawks fan next to me, this like random guy goes, "They actually get paid pretty well." And I was like, "Buddy, we're at a football game. Lighten up."
Yeah, you should have told them. They moonlight as officials. They're not actually full-time employees.
Right. Yeah. And also, I'm just trying to have fun at a football game. I think we all got to lighten up and like have a good time and like have a good time with each other. And so it's what you're saying. It's the football, it's the product, but it's also the fan-to-fan experience. Like the 12s used to all kind of be in it together, and I think I'm missing that a little bit. And guys, and you guys correct me if we're wrong or put your thoughts in the chat, but guys, for a team that has a jersey retired in honor of the fans, we got to do better than this.
Do we unretire the jersey? Do we tell the Hawks to threaten to unretire the 12? Take it down from the rafters?
Only if they do their part as much as we're going to do our part. It's going to take a collective effort here.
I think you cracked the Da Vinci Code here, partner. You said, hey, that jersey's coming down if you don't get loud or if you don't show up.
Hey, man, let's go, everybody. I don't know. All ideas are on the table. What do you guys think? Let us know out there in the chat. And thanks for being here. The all-day family will be all over this one. Bet online. Everybody, speaking of being all over it, if you want to do some wagering, go to BetOnline.
I like that segue.
BetOnline.ag is the browser, or they have a mobile app which is available in any app store. You can bet on the NBA, which is of course in full go, the NHL, the UFC when that comes around, and of course football every single weekend and whenever there's a game. BetOnline. The game starts here. Make sure you use our promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, all caps, for a welcome bonus on your first deposit at betonline.ag. Geno Smith, he is listed on the injury report, but as a FP, full participant in practice, so hopefully trending in the right direction for this weekend, although no official news on that. What else here? Let's see.
Well, we're going to need him.
Yeah. K9 still did not practice. I just wanted to look at get a couple in there. K9 did not practice, though. Neither did DK Metcalf. Neither did Zach Charbonnet. Neither did Olu. Neither did Big Cat. Neither did Tyler. Neither did Jaron Reed. Oh, boy.
Well, yeah. I think the most alarming – because K9's trending back towards, he actually, was on the field, which is great news. But Charbonnet being on that injury report, this kid, maybe this is why he only got 8 carries, ladies and gentlemen. And, like I said, I like to take everything into consideration. So I think maybe we're a little too hard on Grubsy and the boys for not running more, because he played through an oblique injury and he played tough. Like, he was one of the bright spots the last few weeks, but when you saw the way their defense was finishing tackles and the way their offense was finishing blocks and everybody's pushing the pile, I only saw Charbonnet in there. When DK caught the ball one time and they couldn't take him down, so they're piling up hits, Sharp ran over and just peeled somebody off. And I was like, dude, that's something that the coaches need to highlight in the film room and say, hey, this is how we finish plays on offense. And then go look at the other side, and whether it's Spoon or Ernest, punching the ball, this is how we finish, because the month of December and the push to the playoffs, this is what it's all about. And I thought we got out hit, we got out physical, and the Packers finished every single play with just some fucking nastiness.
Yeah. Well, we're pretty beat up though. So how do we bring that this weekend to the Vikings? We got to do to them what the Packers did to us, because it's not as if we look up and I mean the Vikings are like sneakily, quite possibly the best team in the NFL. Absolutely no one is talking about. We talk about us flying under the radar. Hello.
Yeah.
Have you looked at the Vikings?
12-2 and fine. I watched that game on Monday night. So luckily we do have one day more prepared on them, right? But the NFL schedule finally gave us a favor. But dude, they were out there just beating the hell out of people. I mean, the NFC North is the best division. I mean, not just record-wise, but when I watch that film of any of those teams playing, even Chicago for that matter, they were running the ball. I don't know why they didn't run it more with Swift against the Vikings, because he was averaging like 4.5 a carry. So this is a tough division. And then, back to back, I mean, we have 3 out of the 4 teams because the Bears are next week. But speaking to the Vikings, there's a number of things that worry me. When you have Green Bay do what they did to us and the Vikings might be a better offense, that's scary. You got the best receivers in Jefferson and Addison. You got Aaron Jones, who still has it. I just don't know why, but they chose to drop back more than run it with him, and he was destroying them. And the O-line specifically was doing what Green Bay just did. They were putting people on their back. They were driving, playing through the whistle. And it's going to be, I mean, what do you call it? The slobber knocker, an old school just dog fight. Yeah. Like
that's, I'm not, I got to tell you then you're not making me want to keep my ticket and go to the stadium.
This is why,
honest with you, because that's what the Packers game was. The Packers game was supposed to be a good old fashioned slobber knocker, hard hitting game, and they came in and out physical us. So if this one's going to be that, and also our team is we're banged up, man. What are we going to do? Well,
there was a lot of things. I don't like to, get superstitious, but it was a full moon and Mercury was in retrograde. So without that going on this weekend, I think we're going to be okay.
Oh man. Okay. Well, let's talk Geno Smith then, because we got to have Geno being able to go here. And so him fully participating, that points towards a good sign. But I mean, how do we attack them? What are we going to do, man?
I wouldn't be surprised if more up stuff.
Okay.
That's really Geno's strength, is just being out there as a player, the flow of the game. And when you get to the line quickly, defenses, now Flores is a hell of a coach, their D coordinator. He'll still blitz even if you're going hurry up. Very few have the confidence, right? The onions to do so, but he does. And his guys are well trained and well schooled in the scheme. So, but that always keeps you on your heels to an extent, especially if you're a defense that likes to pressure and do things it's hard to get all that set up if they're going quick. So you can take that and slow down the pass rush with that. I anticipate some quick screens and things of that nature. But yeah, those are just a couple ways I think we can take advantage of what we're going to see.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking is okay, you got Charbonnet on the list, Kenneth Walker on the list. Who's not on the list? Kenny Mack. Yeah. He's quick. He's fast.
Polani.
Open space. So, try to get them the ball on a quick screen or something like that fast and get it out, quicker. Or you know what I mean? In a way where you let that rush and you take advantage of that rush, right? That's what you were telling me, I think.
Yeah, well, they have dogs and they are going to unleash them. They are very deep all over that defense. And so
our offensive line is making guys who aren't dogs look like dogs.
But so you know what? That's what's great is that's why the draw play was so successful, because guys are screaming up because it looks like a pass set, right? And this is when San Fran, we ran 4 draws for 50 yards It was more than half of our production on the ground. And it worked because they weren't worried about our run game, which is kind of sad or scary. But like they're screaming upfield, and now we got blockers downfield. So like those are just like the screen. Like your pass setting only to let them go by you on timing and then get out. And now we got extra blockers downfield. But you're right, partner. Get the ball out quick. But if we don't send someone vertical, where have the vertical shots? Like DK needs at least 2 or 3. I don't even care if it's the same play. Like you're throwing it to Randy Moss in Madden. Like just, hey, he's going deep. Good luck. Right. Just because if you get that in their head, they're like, oh, they will take a shot. Now you see them back up in coverage. That's when the underneath stuff opens up.
Well, and DK's on the list with a shoulder, and earlier in the season it was like a leg, wasn't it? So
yeah, it was a knee sprain.
Banged up all over the place this season. Is JSN our only receiver? Because
no,
I know only, but he hasn't had, and he's hurt and stuff, and I hear all of that. But like, come on, like, is he gonna have a game?
But and you know what? DK has been a decoy largely these last few weeks. Injury could be part of it, but there was one, and I think we talked about where Collinsworth just like, this is just what DK Metcalf does for you. And because there was 3 guys around him and JSN was wide open on the corner. Yeah. So like, and I'm just glad he's not showing his frustrations like he has in the past. And like a lot of young receivers or younger receivers have done. We saw Debo do it and it didn't work out well. We saw, who else? Someone else did it. AJ Brown did it, and then they went to him, and oh my God, he shut up all the critics. Like, yeah, this is what I do. Like this.
He's like, I was like
right. 10 for $120 touchdown. Yeah, he's like, yeah, this. You're welcome.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, is that what DK needs to do then a little bit? Like, there's a veteran way to kind of do that internally in the locker room, isn't there? Even if it's not public.
There is, but you know what? If a couple more games, because we only have 3 left, but if like this game goes where he doesn't get the ball and we lose by a couple scores, yeah, I probably would imagine he will express some frustration, try to keep it in house. But this is what I loved about him in the 4-game stretch where we were winning. He didn't say anything, and like we all know we should have got him the ball more. He knows that. The offense knows it, right? And it's just, but not being a distraction down the stretch is huge. And I think it's shown a lot of maturity out of him as a leader now. He's stepping into that leadership role, And so I've been really impressed. And he's done a lot for us, whether it's blocking or being the decoy, right?
True. That's true. Mike Wabshaw from Believe in Vikings, the Vikings podcast here on the Believe, BLEAV network. Mike Wabshaw will be joining us here momentarily. But Lofa, let me ask you just, a couple of your standard insane fan type questions. Can this team win the Super Bowl though, as it is? I mean, what are the expectations still for this season realistically based on what we're seeing?
You're damn right we can. What I saw was not a lack of talent or even a problem with the scheme. I just saw guys that got a young team that got a little too caught up in making the game bigger than it was. And we talked about it on the live, specifically just like stay in the moment, and just do your job. Like, I feel like too many guys were just playing outside themselves and not executing, right? But we're a more talented roster, I believe it, than Green Bay. Now, Minnesota, I don't know. That might be the most talented roster in the NFL. But we can hang with anybody. Last week was the only game other than the Buffalo Bills, I believe, that we were just out of, and we didn't feel out of it. Did you feel out of the game?
No, I stayed for the whole thing, which usually I'm maybe I might try to leave or something, but no, I was there the whole time, man.
But I mean, when Ernest punched that out and then we we score, so I was like, it wasn't like, and there's a lot of teams that they're just up and down and up and down. We've been consistently steady, and just improving up until last week. So I'm going to chalk it up as an anomaly, and we're going to right the ship, pun intended, just like you said, for the Vikings. And just, I hope the message this week is just, hey, fellas, take a breath and do your job. Like, we don't have to do anything special. We just have to do what we're trained to do.
But you can hear fans, like some of our family, even on all day, right? You can hear some of our listeners like spitting up their coffee as I say, can we still win the Super Bowl? Like, I can feel them typing in right now. Brett, Super Bowl? Are you kidding me? Like, why is that the feeling? And what do you say to those fans? Because you're not going to convince them no matter what you say, really.
Yeah. No, I was on Puck's show last Friday, and I brought it up, and they were fucking hammering me in the comments section. This guy's crazy. Like, yes, I am crazy. But
if you don't think that your team can win the Super Bowl, then what the hell are we doing here?
Exactly. Right. Exactly. And so,
why do you watch? Why do you spend 4 hours every Sunday or Thursday or Monday watching your team if you don't believe that they can win the Super Bowl? And if you're going to hammer us in the comment section, this team is doomed. Then what are you watching for?
Yeah, I amen, brother. I couldn't said it better.
I hope they type that in. Like, answer that. Why are you watching then? Because it sounds silly, and I hear myself say it, but we have to believe, don't we?
Yeah, we have to. And that's the one thing missing from any team that has talent is if they're not winning, it's just the belief, right? That, okay, something good's going to happen. We're going to turn in this corner and then we're going to go. And we did. We had that for 4 weeks. And then I think we just made it too big of a game, too big of a deal. Prime time, right? Action green. Just, like I said, full moon. Crazy shit happens during a full moon. And if we just collectively bring it together and calm down, I think we'll be fine. So, because we go on the road and we play well, and that's what a lot of teams don't do. And that's what's kind of baffling to me is like, how do you not play well at home and you play great on the road? Like, it's hard to play on the road.
Doesn't this, and you've said this before, but it feels so much like that other year. That first year, doesn't it? Like, it just feels like we're putting the truck in reverse a little bit on our way to the playoffs. We might still get there. We might still do some things even when we get there. But boy, is this stressful on the way.
Even to the tune of like, okay, like I remember game plans where we actually had a good game plan. We played a good game on defense, and then we would go and like invent 3 new defenses. I was like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, I don't care that they know we're in this defense. Everyone is very good at their job and their role in that spot. And like, now we're like flipping guys on other sides, and then no, because this is where they run the ball, so we're going to put this guy here. And I was just like, oh my God. It's just whole different sides, like safeties playing linebacker.
Losing to teams that you shouldn't, kind of, stuff.
Exactly.
What's the culture? What's the identity? Yeah.
And so I just do what you do best, right? And get the ball to your playmakers. Like, that's always been a great recipe for winning and then building that confidence and that momentum. And so, but yeah, it feels eerily like it's going to come down to us and the Rams. Watch us get flexed to that primetime spot, because God forbid, we're both 500 at the or like we're both 8-8 or something.
Yeah. If they do that, we should bring back the gray, the unit. Come on.
This one, the ugly shit that I used to wear.
No, the gray, the wolf gray.
Oh, that's my favorite uniform.
Mine too. I love it. Bring those out of the closet.
I did get confirmation. Cam Chancellor. So I was hanging out with him the other day, and he was like, I like them. He's like, but they're not the most comfortable. He's like, they're like real, like weird fit. Like, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't because we only wear them so often. I think maybe a little too much starch in them.
Oh, okay. The gray. Yeah. All right. Mike's here.
There we
Mike.
go.
Mike, we're talking here on the show instead of football for the moment.
Well, I forgot my Christmas sweater.
Lofa, the action green, man, I'm starting to lean towards the don't wear it, because lately it's not good. It was great in the beginning, but the record recently, it's not great in the action.
Not awesome.
Mike Wabshaw. Did I get it, Mike?
Yeah, you got it. You got it right, man.
It's on the jersey behind him.
Crushed it. Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
From Believe in Vikings, spelled Believe way, BLEAV in Vikings, joining the show. Mike, Lofa and I are saying, and Lofa said the NFC North, I mean, probably the best division in all of football. The Vikings could possibly be the best team in all of football that no one's talking about. And to be honest, I'm nervous, as I always am as a Seahawks fan. So, I mean, introduce us to this Vikings team for people who haven't been watching, and tell us how amazing they truly are.
Yeah. We'll see. The proof's in the pudding. We'll see how amazing they are. These are the games that they all matter, but these are the ones where the level of difficulty gets increased, as we all know, and as Lofa knows because he played in them. But I think that if you're a believer of the Vikings, whether you're a Vikings fan or you're an analyst, and you're trying to assess the market here and figure out who's good and who's not good, if you're a believer of the Vikings, I think you're just in being so. And I admittedly was a wait and see guy on this team for a while, just because of the caliber of opponents and the way some of the wins were happening. But there's just been too many wins now over too many good teams for me to take anything away from this club. And I have so much admiration and respect for the way Kevin O'Connell has handled this season for the Vikings. And the way he's been able to structure this thing for Sam Darnold to come in and really thrive. So, and then Brian Flores on the other side of the ball. Brian Flores is absolutely pressing the right buttons and pulling the proper levers. This team gets after the passer most weeks, and they lead the NFL in interceptions. So it's a very opportunistic defense and a very aggressive defense. So the season's been a lot of fun for Vikings fans, because there's been a lot of points scored on offense. There's been a lot of turnovers on defense, and there's been 2 long winning streaks, a 5-game winning streak, then 2 losses, and now a 7-game winning streak.
Sounds like an old young Seahawks team that I remember back in the day, Lofa. Hard-hitting defense, offense that can score points, defense taking the ball away. What's that like? Mike, let's talk about fellow Trojan, Sam Darnold, possibly what comeback player of the year, perhaps, up there. But what does he do so well, and how does he go about his game?
Good question. Good question, Brett. I remember watching him. I was with the Vikings from 2005 to 2019 doing digital content for the organization. And I remember when Sam Darnold came out of USC, I believe it was 17 or 18, 2018 probably. And I loved his feet and the way he could step out of trash and buy a little time. And he had a great arm. And we just didn't see that from him with the Jets and with the Panthers. And then, of course, we saw nothing really from him with the Niners because he was a backup. And I think what has happened in Minnesota is he's gotten an opportunity with a really good structure around him to really just put his ability on display. He hasn't had to create. He hasn't had to elevate anyone around him, although I think he can do that. He hasn't had to burn energy doing that. He stepped into a car that can drive really fast, and he's driving it really fast. And so to me, that's really what he does great is he operates within the structure the way he is supposed to. And when he is called on to buy some time and extend plays and step away from those dirty pockets, he can do it. And he's got a huge arm, so he can make the defense pay. And Lofa, you know what it's like when you've got a play covered up for 2.5, 3.5 seconds. You did your job, but then the quarterback buys an extra second. Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison are open. They're open in 2.5 seconds most of the time. In 3.5 or 4 seconds, they're open, and Darnold is finding them.
Yeah, and you said it right there. I mean, no shortage of weapons. And then you got Hawkinson, and then you got Aaron Jones. I don't know why he didn't get more carries. He was torching the Bears. You guys should have put up more points. And so, like, the first 2-3 series, Donald looked very good, very crisp. And then it just looked like his reads weren't as clean because I know those guys were open. They were showing like the end zone cut and all of it. So, but he's got the cannon for an arm to, make split decisions. So, we got our work cut out for us. But I got to say that year in San Fran was probably pretty big for him, just learning under Shanahan and that offensive scheme, because he puts out yeah, he puts out quarterbacks all the time, right? And so,
Yep.
Go ahead. You had a point. I'm sorry.
No, I think you're totally right about that, Lofa. And I think we need to remember that for all of these young quarterbacks that come into the league. If you're ready to play, right? I mean, if you're good enough and you can do it, play them. CJ Stroud. I mean, I bet you Houston's glad they didn't have him sit for a year after what he did last year. But it's all right. These guys, even if they're a top 10 pick, if the guy's got to sit and learn for a little bit, let him do it. There's just been so many good examples of quarterbacks who have developed the proper way because they had that opportunity to sit there and learn. One schematic thing I wanted to bring up to you guys, and I prepared this just for our conversation. I actually think as hot as Sam Darnold has been this season, I think this matchup with Seattle is really interesting. What I see a lot of zone. Seattle play a lot of zone defense. And I don't see much blitzing. Is that right?
We play a good amount, and it will pressure or just, it'll look like pressure. We just send for you, right? Like we'll drop someone out and a second level defender comes. So it's zone pressure replacement zone. Yeah.
Darnold is really good against the blitz and very good against man. And it's not that he's been bad against zone and coverage, not blitzing, but that's really where you can kind of get him and where you make him pause. And that's what Seattle plays. So I there's a lot of things in this matchup that I think go Minnesota's way. But I actually think that the way Mike Macdonald schemes it up fits pretty well in this matchup against Sam Darnold. And I can't wait to see that unfold. I think it's going to require Sam to be patient. And we'll see if he can do that. And if he is not patient, and if he just isn't having an off night with accuracy, he's going to get in trouble. So I'm excited to see that aspect of this matchup.
Well, I guess one more point. Sorry, Brett, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I smell a Kobe pick, but go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Because Sam he has shown to get impatient. Okay. But you got, they ran it 28 times, so I'll give O'Connell credit there. But Aaron Jones specifically had 4.8 per carry, and you're still throwing it 40 times against the Bears when, you had a 2 or 3 score lead. So I just didn't understand.
48 times and still threw it 40 times?
Oh, they get plays off, bro. They get a lot of plays. Because their defense, because Flores and that defense are damn good too.
You know what I think it is, guys? And this is going to maybe sound critical, but I don't mean it to be critical.
No, go ahead. Safe place.
So some of these coaches, man, they can't help themselves. When they got these receivers who are fast like this and a quarterback, they can't. They're like we were when we played Madden, right? When we were young, you can't help it, man. You got to
send Randy Moss deep. Just send Randy Moss deep.
Yeah, I honestly think that's part of it, and I'm not suggesting O'Connell has no discipline. He's been great this season. But it's like you got Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson, and Sam Darnold, who's literally, he is on fire this year. I don't think he can help himself. He's dialing up, pass plays.
Yeah, but that's great. Yeah. And that's what you need. You got to have a little bit of fun out there. That's the thing. The Seahawks seem a bit stressed lately. Not just the fans, but we're on a winning streak and we seem stressed. And that the fans do that, and it seemed like the team was doing that too. Play loose, play fast, play fun. Call the most fun play you can think of, and just gently tap on circle and hope he comes down with it. When you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. But and to that point, I wouldn't say he's undisciplined. You don't reel off 12 wins and 2 monster win streaks being undisciplined. But I think the confidence that Flores has provided is okay, well, if we get up 3 scores, now we can unleash the hounds, man. And that, you guys got pass rush and just straight up ass kickers, and that's I think it goes hand in hand and plays well. So,
Mike, how do the Seahawks win though? What do we got to do against you guys? And what has other teams done that has worked?
I think you guys tell me, do you see consistent effort, toughness up front with Seattle's defensive line? Because if they can be that, if they're having one of their on games from a physicality standpoint and effort standpoint up front, that's going to cause the Vikings problems. But if they're having one of those nights where, and I hate calling guys out with effort, Lofa, when you played,
that's the only thing I call out. No, it's the only thing I call out because that's a choice.
Okay,
right?
Yeah. I wonder about that sometimes with Seattle. However, when they're on up front, I think they're nasty.
Mhm.
And the Vikings up front are not like Green Bay's offensive line. That's a big physical group that can move you. The Vikings aren't that way. They're very schematic. They're very agile. They're athletic. So if Seattle decides up front on defense, let's play some bully ball here and let's push some people around and get to Sam Darnold a little bit, cause him, like I said, to be impatient, then I think Seattle can get him on the road, big game, a lot of zone defense. So, I mean, Darnold's going to drop back. And, yeah, he's got great weapons, but he's going to see a lot of 7 men in coverage, and you got to be patient and accurate against that. And if your line is getting bullied up front, you're less likely to be patient and you're less likely to be accurate. So that's a way I think Seattle can get a leg up and win this game on the defensive side.
Yeah, that's what worries me a little bit, Lofa, because I went back. I was watching some of the Green Bay game on the flight on the way back just to torture myself because NFL would be replaying it the next day.
It was.
And I just noticed that our defensive line, I mean, especially when they would run the ball, they're just getting pushed back a yard to a yard and a half when the play started. I mean, before the back was even getting to the line, we're already going backwards, and that's just never a good place to be. They have to flip that around, especially against Minnesota and this running game, right?
Oh, absolutely. It all starts with the run, and this isn't a game with the receivers they have and the weapons they have, pass catchings. You can't. This is where I won't be upset if we stay in a 7-man box for the majority of the game. But like we were doing that last week, and it was driving me crazy because Josh Jacobs was just running. He ran over 2 or 3 guys. And I'm not at every level. Like D-line, linebacker,
I watched the game.
Safety. Oh my God. And I even said, I go, we need to have a tackling plan for a guy like that who's just built, different, and his legs don't stop, moving.
Yeah.
And so Aaron Jones is very patient, very smooth, and then he hits the accelerator really quickly. So I'm not as concerned of the run game, but more so it's the receiving threats and just the sheer speed that these guys have.
Mike, what should be the plan against JJ? Hope and pray, or Spoon follows him everywhere? Lofa, like, you guys, what? And our listeners too, like, what are we gonna do on this guy?
I don't have the magic answer there, and this is where O'Connell comes in, because if you and Lofa get into the defensive meeting room and come up with a great scheme and a plan for JJ, Jordan Addison's going to get you on the other side.
Absolutely.
So it's tough, man. It's tough against these receivers and against Kevin O'Connell. They've got it going on right now. I always remember when Belichick was with New England, he had this idea, and I don't know, Lofa, if Pete did this with you guys or not, but it was like, let's put our best corner on their second best receiver.
On the two. Yep.
So I wonder about that with Seattle. What would that look like here? Do you think about that?
Yeah, and honestly, right now, and what he's talking about, Brett, is you put your best on the 2 with no help, and then you double the number 1, or you have a safety over Jefferson. But honestly, this takes me back to when we played the Bengals in 2007, and they had All-Pro Chad Johnson, and then they had Pro Bowler TJ Houshmandzadeh, and we doubled the hell out of Chad to the tune of, I think he had 1 catch in the first half. TJ had like 11 in the first half and 140 yards. So then they were like, all right, let's go double TJ. I was like, how about we don't double anybody and just play it straight and just see how it goes for a drive? Nope. We took the double over to TJ. Chad goes off for like 10 for $150. And I was just like, I don't know how we got out of there with the win, but we did. And it is. I like that game plan. But right now, I think that would be Reek, even though as fast and big as he is, it would be him, on the number 1
on Jefferson
with help.
Yep.
And then we go over to the other side, and it's going to be we played Spoon everywhere. And I think probably to his detriment, that's why the stats aren't there, because I think you have to be worried about where this guy is because of the way he hits, the way he plays fearlessly in terms of not just physically, but he has calculation and spatial awareness like I've never seen. Like he will shoot through the gap and apply pressure. He will cover in zone just as well as anybody I've ever seen. And then, man, he is sticky. You cannot get away from him. And so even the one touchdown he gave up last week, it was the guy had all day to throw. Love had all day to throw. And then it was just one of the most insane catch by Romeo Doubs I've ever seen. And Spoon was right there in position. And so, I think he would have to be you're on Addison, and let's just have those two duke it out.
Well, Enrique's got to have a bounce back game. I mean, a lot of Seahawks fans looking at him after the game this last week. I mean, just, jumping early on that one to Watson, that looked like a sure pick in the stadium. And I think it would have been season 1. I don't know what's up, but he's got to bounce back here. And it's a tough task. But Lofa, like, I get kind of pissed when I hear Mike talk about their 2 receivers, and then I think about us having JSN and DK and
three.
and Tyler Lockett, and the rest of the league should be saying the same thing about us.
Yeah. But they do have a run game, and ours is non-existent other than 2 weeks ago, So first of all, our running backs aren't healthy. That's always a problem. Even Charbonnet, he's been listed with an oblique injury, limited participant, I actually didn't even practice, I think, today or yesterday. So, but the O-line, we haven't been healthy, man. That's probably been the biggest struggle for us this year is we're good. We're just never healthy. Like there has been out of, I forget what week this is, but if it's week 15 or 16, we've had 14 or 15 different combinations of starters. I think only 2 weeks in a row have we had the same guys. And it was during that 4-game stretch. And even then there's been some people sprinkled in and out of there, but been pleasantly surprised because when we started incorporating the pulling scheme and gap trap because we are not very good at zone. And on top of zone, we never use the bootleg. So I don't know why we would run zone, quite frankly. So there's so many things that have puzzled me about what we've done offensively or haven't done. And, but and we're not even taking any deep shots. Even like when it's like everybody's just sitting there at 15 yards. And it's like, well, okay, if we don't go vertical at all, why would I ever give them respect and get off them? I'm going to stay right here.
Yeah.
Mike, what pass rusher that we haven't heard of is going to go off for you guys?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you've heard of Jonathan Grenard, right? You're gonna have to get ready for him. Andrew Van Ginkel is very good on the other side. Yeah, he's a heady player. He's smart. You're not really going to fool him. You might beat him
tough
physically. Yeah, and he's tough and smart, and he's good physically. You might get him on a rep physically, but you're not gonna trick him or fool him. So they're pretty solid on the edge there. And then they have a rookie, Dallas Turner, who you guys may have looked at coming out in the draft. Great bend, Lofa. You should see. There's a rep he had in the Bears game that was unbelievable.
Off the left edge, it was. He got so low. It was like Neo in the Matrix.
It was ridiculous.
Popped right up.
Yeah, and he hit the quarterback.
Smoked him.
They're very good out there. They're very good on the edge. They're a 36 or 37% blitz team, guys. So I don't know why teams don't blitz Geno. Maybe he's really good against it. I'm not sure, but it doesn't seem like Seattle sees the blitz much, 22%. The Vikings come at you 38% of the time, blitz number 1 in the NFL, so he's got to get ready for that.
Oh, boy.
Get
the ball out.
And so, hey, you know what, though? Maybe that's where the deep shots come in. You get man behind a blitz like that, and you throw something up to DK or let Tyler Lockett run underneath something or JSN. That could be an opportunity there for Geno to look for.
Hey,
listen, he's like,
I gotta ask.
Do it. Don't worry. There might be something there. That could be where you guys might be able to have a decent time. I know.
I gotta ask a question. How is my favorite undrafted free agent, Bo Richter, doing?
Oh man, he was a little bit of a training camp standout, guys. He was like a training camp darling, and he's a special teams ace, I would say. Definitely a future in the NFL on defense right now, cutting his teeth on special teams. Tell me why you loved him though, because he's definitely been a good player for them and he's got a future for sure.
Someone sent me some film to watch. They had a safety that I think got drafted by the Raiders. And they're like, check him out. And this little machine and I don't want to say little, he's 6'2", 250, and runs a 4.5 40. So he's way bigger than me. But he had him up at the end, and he looks like a bodybuilder. And he was just relentless and kicking the shit out of people. And I was like, I can teach that guy other skills, because I would have loved to use him a middle linebacker.
Yeah.
I know he's got the skill set and the smarts, right, to do that. So, but it's just like the ultimate Swiss Army knife. You can put him on the line. You can blitz him as a rover in any kind of 3-4 package. You can play him at middle linebacker. He has so much he can do, and like that makes it very fun as a defensive coordinator or defensive mind. And then just toughness like that. That is instincts and then toughness. Those are the two things I value more than anything.
Yeah. I think he's got those for sure. I can see that. Who
And
else
he's got
has
speed.
that? Yeah. Who else has that on the Vikings defense? And, Brett, you asked for a name that maybe people don't consider household. And Lofa played a similar position, but Blake Cashman for the Vikings defense, very good player. And I'm sure, Lofa, you've got some respect for him. But Brett, he's a guy you could go back and look up. He used to play for Houston, signed with the Vikings as a free agent. He's been a really key player for the Vikings defense.
Was he a Golden Gopher?
He was, yeah. He's a Minnesota kid.
Minnesota guy. Yeah. All right, we'll check him out. That's enough for the Minnesota Vikings fan club hour, though. It's time for us to predict the score, guys. We do the score prediction challenge here on the show, thanks to our sponsor, Simply Seattle, the greatest apparel company in Seattle for all your Seahawks, Sonics, Mariners, Huskies. It's all like this officially licensed stuff. They got throwback jerseys and Cooperstown collections and all kinds of stuff. It's simplyseattle.com. Use our promo code, all caps, all day. ALLDAY for 15% off at simplyseattle.com. We collab with them on Instagram on this post. You guys go in and predict the score in the comment section. And if you nail it this week, you will be entered for a chance to win $150 on that gift card.
Nail it, you get it.
Unless somebody else also gets it. Yeah, if there's multiple winners, you never know. You get what I'm saying. Mike, what will the score be?
The score is going to be 21-19, guys. And it could be 22-21 if Seattle gets in position for a field goal at the buzzer to win the game. But I'll take the purple side of this one and say it's going to be something like 21-19, right around what the number is in Vegas. I think that I think that Darnold versus zone and not versus blitz, so versus coverage, is a little troublesome for him, and I like that matchup for Seattle. And then I think that Seattle is going to have to take some shots deep to score on this defense, and if they connect, they're going to win. If they don't, they're not going to win, and it's going to come down to a field goal. So that's where I'm at. A narrow Vikings victory at Seattle, which I never take for granted. I've been there many times. One time I was there, and Chester Taylor ran for a 95-yard touchdown on Lofa.
Let's not talk about fucking.
I've had many
times.
more nightmares. I've had many more nightmares than dreams in Seattle. We'll see how this one goes, but I think it's going to be a close, fun game.
Chester Taylor is a hell of a player. Okay, I am going to take the Hawks. Shocker. Man, I can see this going. It's either going to be an absolute shootout, but if we want to win this game, realistically, we have to keep them to 20 points or less. And so I'm going to go 24-20 Seahawks, because if we get into a shootout with these guys, it'll be ugly.
We're all very close to around the same score. I wrote mine down in advance to make sure there'd be no tampering. Ooh, producer Katie also just handed me a note. Lofa, Jake Bobo on the show today is our Seahawk guest.
Nice.
Jake Bobo. Where's the Bobo Mojo fans at? He'll be stopping by in a bit. I have this one, Seahawks 24, Vikings 23.5.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not going to pick against them.
But I can tell you right now, you're not going to win, and that's more where. That should be 24-23. That will make me the happiest man ever.
Yeah, that's true. Because I never have nailed it. It'd be a bummer to lose on the joke. Also, Mike Wabshaw, you're the man. Thank you for joining us. Believe in Vikings, you guys. Check them out on any podcast app. Also on social media. Is all the social media? Wait, how do you say
Wabby? Yeah, it's Wabby. It's WOBBY. Wabby at Wabby on Twitter or X. That's where you can find me. I like to have a little fun on those other platforms, but my football stuff's mostly on X or TikTok. But
yeah,
Twitter is where it's at. So for me,
Twitter's the place to be for sports and
I
in the
think so.
Chat and all that. Mike, you're the man. Enjoy the game. We'll see you after the Seahawks win.
Okay,
Appreciate
sounds
you,
good.
man.
Hey, let's do one in the playoffs, huh? Let's have a playoff game together, and we'll do this again.
Well, then pray for us to make the playoffs, and we can do it again.
Okay, sounds good.
Later, man.
Thanks, Mike.
Oh man. I mean, we don't know what team's going to show up for us, right? And I think that's the biggest thing this season is just the inconsistency. But like Mike said, if we can put it all together, and if a team shows up for us that has shown up at times this season, then we'll all have a good time. We're just nervous.
No, yeah. But it's even like, I remember we used to play the Bears, and they had that unbelievable defense. And I remember just talking to Haas. I was like, yo, Haas, I don't care if Urlacher picks it off. Just throw one deep early on. Like, just because if you don't, he is so fast and so quick to just come downhill and ruin your life. Not even your day, your life. So, and I remember we went to I think it was the divisional playoffs, and he just sent one to Nate B. And Urlacher was like, Nate B had like 10 yards on him. This is how fast Urlacher was. He was like, oh shit, the ball's coming. I'm just gonna catch up, and he knocked it away. And but from that moment on, the middle was now, it wasn't just Lance Briggs and Hillenmeyer just sitting there and with Urlacher just coming over the top and killing people. Now it was just two guys in the curl with a lot more room, and the check down and the middle, like intermediate stuff was open because he respected it. Right. So just, doesn't always have to be a touchdown 60-yard completion to TK, but send them deep and hell, even overthrow the ball to make sure it doesn't get intercepted, but just put them on their heels is all I was saying.
And take care of the ugly penalties, because when their team throws it deep, let's stop getting those DPIs and things like that that we get when they throw the ball under. Like, I can see this being such a Darnold move.
Yeah. Because Jefferson and Addison are crafty, right? But this is, we were getting on the DBs in the live, and I went back and watched the game, and so I got to apologize to Josh Jobe, because on his long penalty, he caught up, you look and lean. So he leaned into the cover or to the offensive guy, and he looked, and as he looked, Watson very alertly grabbed his shoulder pad and pulled him in to him, and then pretended to go for the ball. He drew that flag, and Job didn't do anything wrong. And so, if I called him out with all the other DBs in that one, that's on me. That's my bad, because I rewatched it, and it was a bullshit call. It was a good play by Watson. It's almost like what DeAndre Hopkins used to always do. So crafty on top of being a great receiver. It's like, those are the little things. Tyler Lockett gets away with some every now and that's why we love him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you have to do that stuff though in any sport. That's just they call it gamesmanship.
It's called savvy move.
Savvy move, my friend. Let's fly around the league a little bit, Lofa, and check in on some other headlines. Thanks to our partner Delta. Go with the throw, everybody. And if you want to fly anywhere, you better be doing it with Delta, the best damn airline to ever exist. You can earn 1 mile with every Seahawks passing yard this season with Delta 12 status. Sign up and start earning miles at 12status.com. Open to legal residents of Washington, must be 18 or older. Speaking of throwing the ball, the left-handed Husky is in Atlanta. Kirko, and the big contract is benched. So there's a couple different angles we could talk about this thing. One, you got the young guy coming in, but then two, you got the old guy with the big contract getting set down.
You never root against anybody, right? These are all my NFL brothers, little brothers. And it's the passing of the torch, and I just hope Penix, who is going to be awesome, has taken this time to really prepare because your opportunities are few and far between, right? And Penix is not a young man. He's actually a grown ass man. I think he's like 25, but
He went to football graduate school.
Absolutely, he's a doctor, Dr. Penix, just like Dr. Bo Nix, and yeah. So excited for him to get his opportunity, and I hope he does well. And then Kirk, still happy for him. You got a $100 million guaranteed, right?
Oh yeah.
So and he's going to get more opportunities because he still is a good player, and it just didn't work out. But yeah, I don't know what the ramifications of the contract look like.
I was just gonna say, what's up with that for the team? Well, like the investment. I mean, if you're a fan right now, you're just like, what did we do? And is it over for him there?
No, it depends on how Penix performs. Right. And because next year, Kirk, kind of like Aaron Rodgers, just didn't look healthy, right? He's been able to extend plays, but he had the Achilles injury. They both had Achilles injury, and they're not young. Aaron is 40 this year, and Cousins has to be like 34, 35. I think it was a 2012 draft. So
who's their agent?
Another year.
Agent.
They got a great agent.
Is that Rosen?
I know we got to hire him, buddy.
That like injured old quarterbacks are worth these contracts.
Remember, I brought it up on the podcast back in the day when it happened. I was like, why wouldn't you give Russell $1 million and just be like, you're the man? Because he doesn't have any injuries. He was coming off a solid year. I know things didn't work out in Denver, but he looked good and he was making great decisions. Bring him in for $1 million and have him, mentor Penix, because this is what Russ has over everybody, that positive attitude, mindset of a champion. And he is, in fact, a champion. Like, with all due respect to Kirk, he hasn't won anything, just like I haven't won anything. Like, a great hell of a player, great player, but hasn't won anything. And you want a guy that can just raise everybody's level of play. And Kirk can do that with his arm. Russell does that with his arm, the way he handles his business, and then how he brings everybody's belief up.
Well, and we see him doing that in Pittsburgh, right? So
yeah,
working out. What about Penix though? I mean, do you think he takes this job and never looks back? Give us a little Nostra Lofus.
Lostradamus. Yeah, I think the many years he's had and the many reps, even though it was college, like, he's mature to not take this for granted and just go out there and just be a gunslinger. He's going to make good decisions. I was very impressed with him throughout. The only game that had me kind of worried, and this is why the pairing with Russell would have been great, was the championship game, because it looked like he built it up to be too much, right? I mean, he was going against the number one defense. I'll give him credit, but I don't think he ever hands this job back. I think this is his job, and it would have to be a disastrous 3 or 4 games, because they're still in it, and so they'll probably only give them a game to see if they can just light a spark. And if not, Kirk's going back in the last 2.
Going back to that championship game, I'm still looking at Grubsy a bit during that game.
Oh.
He was still there and not making enough adjustments, and they were getting after him and pushing him off his spot. And I just think a little change of the plan, got me.
I respect it, but I feel like Penix had some terrible overthrows and underthrows in that game, and that was more like, is he nervous, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there was Dunze was wide open. He put it on the wrong shoulder, and Dunze, credit to him, he took responsibility. He's like, no, I should have adjusted to the ball. He was open for several seconds before. Just get him the ball.
No, we don't have to talk about that. How about the Niners? Let's talk about the Niners.
What do you want to talk?
The Santa Clara Whiners. Devondre Campbell, we talked about this on the live. He refused to go into the game, into the Thursday night game. He's now suspended for 3 games, because we were talking about whether they cut him or what to do. He's suspended for 3 games for conduct detrimental to the team. Why the suspension versus getting cut, or all that?
Yeah, Oh, I know fans are like, cut him. What are you doing? Well, no, this is a business first, ladies and gentlemen, and they have a lot of good strategists and lawyers, and so they're going to recoup any dollar they can, and they can go after a prorated portion of his sign-in bonus, which is a few million, and then he also forfeits the game checks. And I said on the live, it's going to be conduct detrimental, and they'll find a way to make you pay, literally and figuratively. Like,
yeah. Do you think he comes back after this 3 games and they pick up where they left off, so to speak, or like what's the future hold?
No, it's going to be a new team. He was on a 1-year deal. I believe it would take one of the former coaches he played for to bring him in, and just stand on the table and say, look, this is my guy. I coached him for X amount of years, and I'm telling you, like, just trust me on this one. That will be the only way he gets another chance, unfortunately. And I love this kid's film when he was in college in Minnesota, just tough, and he reminded me of like the next KJ Wright. Ironically, KJ's down there, and so I wonder if they had conversations, right? About how to handle this. And I know, because I know KJ is one of the greatest leaders I've ever been around, I've ever witnessed. So I wish Devondre had gotten a chance to really sit down and listen to whatever KJ imparted to him.
College football, Travis Hunter wins the Heisman. However, is that who should have won the Heisman?
Well, I called it.
You think so?
Lostradamus called it. So I feel like you have more to say about this than I do.
I mean, I like it. I like that he won it. I mean, it's a team that didn't even make the playoff. However, it's the player, right? He's a hell of a talent. There's no denying that. He's a hell of an athlete. I mean, he's a great football player. I think it's almost like a better story that he wins it, just in terms of like what he does, how many plays he's out there. It makes sense to give it to him because of how much football he actually plays. But Ashton Genty, man, I mean, and I really kind of did a deep dive on some of these highlights. It's unbelievable. And the Boise State Broncos are in the playoff with a very high seed, by the way. It's not like they just snuck in there at number 12 and, they're just happy to play in the Fiesta Bowl like they used to be back in the day. This is a good team now, and he is a hell of a player. And I think he just probably got dinged because, how many people are watching Boise State football, really? Like, how much coverage do they actually get, right?
No, you're right. You couldn't go wrong with either guy you gave it to. Being an All-American on one side of the ball is insanely hard. To do it on both sides is unheard of. But yeah, the GT, he's going to be a problem for all these playoff teams. That starts tomorrow. Get excited, everybody. Who's going to win? Who's going to win it all?
I also just like him, though, too. Like, he wore his full Boise State warm-ups to one of the press things, whereas the other guys were like, in suits and looking like fashion models. But he was kind of just looking like a kid on his way to practice. Like, he's just kind of one of those lunch pail guys. It seems like
he's a real dude.
Yeah. I like him.
I got Georgia winning it all, by the way.
Okay.
So I know that'll make Trish happy. That's why I said, hey, anybody watching this, let us know who you're picking, because now they got a new quarterback, and this quarterback is, man, he's a beast. He came in for the first play and ran over a linebacker, and I was like, that guy should have been playing the whole time.
Yeah. Oh, we got to talk college football as this thing goes through this new playoff thing here. We'll be getting into that. Jonathan Taylor had a walk-in touchdown. Jonathan Taylor had a walk-in touchdown against the Broncos on Sunday, but he dropped the ball right before he went across the goal line. We've been watching this happen for so many seasons now, so many players, so many different teams, defensive guys, offensive guys.
Yeah.
Why the hell can't players listen to their middle school football coach and carry that thing through the back of the end zone?
Spike the thing. Like, that way you don't,
get over the goalpost.
Hold it tight. Yeah. Hold it tight and then rifle it through the back of the end zone as you cross the end zone. Like, get across.
It's like it must drive coaches. I mean, it has to drive them insane,
dude.
but it drives fans insane. It's like, I can't do what all of you can do, but I can carry the ball when I'm
you can hold on to it.
extra
Just hold-
foot.
There was a defender that did it too. Had like a 70-yard interception that resulted in a touchback because he went to move the ball to his other hand and it slipped out right at the half-yard line.
It's got to be like the football. Like I feel like football players might have this nightmare or like a recurring dream. It's like me like showing up on a set and not knowing my lines. Like crossing the goal line without the ball in my hand would be my worst nightmare.
Where'd it go?
I don't understand how they do it. Why do they keep doing it? Oh, maddening. What happens in the locker room if that happens though?
Dude, I don't know because luckily I've never been on a team where it's happened. But yeah, because Pete would say, "Hey, hand the ball to the official." So this is just a little reminder, coaching tip of get across. You have to hand it to the official. He's always in the end zone. So run up, act like you've been there before, and hand it to the official. It was just a good little reminder as a coach to the player of this is how we conduct business. Act like you've been there before. Like this shouldn't shock you that you scored a touchdown. You've scored so many. So if you hand it to the official, it's confirmed you walked across the goal line.
Public service announcement to all football players at any level out there. When you're crossing the goal line, think about Marshawn Lynch and hold on to your balls.
Hey, that's acceptable too. I mean, you might get fined, but it's acceptable because you scored.
All your balls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey,
Hold on to home.
Jets owner Woody Johnson apparently this offseason, blocked a trade because his sons told him that player's Madden rating was too low.
That can't be real.
Okay,
if this is real, I'm just reacting to what I just heard. If this is real, this is why they're the Jets, ladies and gentlemen. Like, this is why no quarterback since Joe Namath has succeeded over there. All right.
Yeah.
This is why. And I just hope this is not real. And I hope I'm apologizing like next show.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll do some more research for you. Jake Bobo is going to be sitting down momentarily. What kind of stuff do we want to talk to Bobo about?
About the great Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Yeah. Just
I knew it.
The Seahawks just get ballers from Massachusetts. Hasselbeck, Tutupu, Bobo, right? Pete Kendall, maybe you've heard of him, right? I think it's a 14-year vet in the trenches, beast. But yeah, it's just what we do. It's what we care about.
All right. Just a sec. We'll bring Jake in. You're fine. What happened? Where were you?
I was eating lunch. Not that you guys aren't important to me, but it may have fallen down the list of things to do.
No, you're all good, dude. You got to fuel up. It's all good. Don't worry about it. Lofa had to bounce on us for this one, so it's just me and you. Thank you to our sponsor, epicseats.com, EPICSEATS.com. Whether you're buying or selling seats, everybody, do it with epicseats.com. Jake Bobo, number 19, wide receiver for your Seattle Seahawks, sitting down with us. Jake, we talked preseason at training camp. I asked you about the Bobo Mojo. Do you still have it? Is it still flowing? Can you still feel it?
I can still feel it. Yes. Thanks to a lot of the 12s out there that are keeping it going. I can definitely still feel it for sure.
Hell yeah, man. Overall vibe check. How's the vibe? How you guys feeling coming off a rough one with the Packers?
Yeah. Good vibes. Good vibes all around. Obviously, coming in Monday and Tuesday, didn't get the result we wanted on Sunday. So vibes weren't great. You hit Wednesday, reset, get ready for Minnesota. So I had a good practice yesterday and we're rolling.
I think Lofa would love that, right, producer Katie? Yep. The kind of like feel it, learn from it, flush it, move on. I can almost hear him saying that, Jake. Can you complete this sentence for me? We win on Sunday if.
We win on Sunday if we play complementary football in all three phases, which is especially I guess especially applies to me in special teams. I feel like we've kind of let the squad down the last couple of weeks in terms of whether it's kickoffs, returns, whatever you want to have. We haven't been providing a spark for either the offense or the defense, and obviously defensively came out in the second half, played lights out. Offensively, we've got to pick some stuff up. So when we put it all together, play complementary football, which I think we're right on the verge of doing. I think it'll be a good one on Sunday for sure.
Is there such a thing as being too amped up for a game?
Yes. Yep. Yes. I can't exactly tell you what that looks like. But yeah, if you're too high, if you're too low, I mean, and you're not ready to go, you're gonna get beat. Maybe there's a little bit of that on Sunday if that's what you're alluding to. But yeah, man, you've got to obviously emotions run high, bigger
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
But you got to keep that in check, and at the end of the day, it comes down to executing, and clearly we didn't do that. So yeah, we got to be better.
Well, in my world, man, I mean, I'm an actor, right? And like
Mhm.
I rehearse, I prepare, I know my lines and all
Right.
that kind of stuff. I show up sometimes. Sometimes I've been rehearsing a little too hard, honestly. Or like if
Okay.
it's an emotional scene and I'm really going for it in rehearsal, then I show up on the day and I don't have it in there sometimes. So I've felt
Yeah.
that before. So honestly, I was
Yep,
just kind of
it's real.
wondering. I mean, what is your pregame ritual though? How do you get ready? How do you prepare?
You want it like specifically?
Like on game day, yeah. Like, is there certain music you listen to? Snack? Do you wear the
So the
same socks or
music
underwear?
No, not necessarily. I'm not super I guess I'm a little stitious, but I'm not superstitious. The music thing, people listen to music, get pumped up, get jacked up, ready to go. For me, I'm with you. Like I can get a little too jacked up when
Mhm.
it's, we're still 2 hours out from kickoff.
Yeah.
So I tend to keep the music a little low. We'll go out there for warm-ups, come back in, and then I'll kind of, turn the volume up a little bit on that. But I'll get there like whatever, 3 hours before, walk around, throw the ball around a little bit on the field with some guys, come in, get stretched, whatever I need to do, and then we'll go out there for warm-ups. So I don't necessarily have a, certain song I listen to, certain socks I'm
Right.
wearing. But
Right.
it's definitely, and for 53 out of the 53 guys that are active on game day, you've got a routine for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Back to Massachusetts. Lofa
There it
wants me
is.
to bring it back to
My
the
guy. It's my
Commonwealth,
guy.
as he calls it, right?
Mm.
Growing up back there, I mean, a football guy, like what's the football vibe growing up? Like, we had a couple Ohio guys here from the Seahawks
Yep.
on the show so far this season. They're talking about tough Midwestern guys. What are Massachusetts football guys like?
Well, Midwestern guys claim the toughness deal. I'm not pointing any fingers. Loaf can tell you that this is 100% correct. The Northeast toughness is on a little bit of a different level than the Midwest toughness.
Okay.
Talking about playing in the snow, playing in, negative degree weather in November. Obviously, it's not as much of a big time high school football scene as I think you'd get in Ohio. So a lot of guys are just out there playing for the game and for the love of the game. And I think that's where some of that toughness comes from is, it's just football. It's not necessarily I'm playing to go play at the next level. I'm out there playing with my guys and knocking heads with the boys. And that's, I think that's where some of that toughness comes from. And you can tell, I don't know who's been on the show, but our guys from Ohio, whether it's Kobe, AJ, you go ahead and tell him I said that.
Who'd you grow up watching? Who do you model your game after?
A good question. So the classics are like you grow up watching Welker or Edelman from the Pats because if you're not a Pats fan in the Northeast, you're in trouble.
Mhm.
But those guys definitely. But you've got your Calvin Johnsons. You've got your. For me, I was always a big college football guy, so this is kind of a niche. Like Kenny Stills played at Oklahoma,
Oh,
really
sure,
good
yeah.
receiver. Didn't exactly, didn't rise to superstardom in the league, but was a great receiver. And so I try to model my game, different body types, but anybody that long strider is who I was looking for growing up for sure.
And what do you pick up when you watch him? What is it that you're looking for?
Oh, just movement, quickness.
Yeah.
I always liked watching guys that would run routes knowing they couldn't just run by the dude because that's been my situation forever. So just real good route runners. How am I manipulating leverage? How am I diagnosing coverage? Stuff like that.
Cool.
Ask
Cool.
him if he's skied Wachusett.
Oh yeah, Lofa and
Who was that? Producer Katie in the background?
Producer Katie, me, and Lofa now at all at this point have skied Wachusett. Lofa grew up skiing there. Is that your
Yes,
mountain?
Of course you did. No, it's not. I was I'd go north. So I'd go to like Vermont. There were a couple mountains. I'm blanking on the name of them. But then you
Killington?
grow up, and Killington is a classic.
Right.
That was a little above my pay grade.
Sugar Bush? Producer Katie's just yelling out
Sugar
names.
Bush. Yeah. I couldn't tell you on that one. But yeah, we didn't ski a lot growing up just because I had two younger brothers and we were playing hoops or whatever.
Right.
I miss those days though for sure.
Well, Lofa couldn't be here, but he put out a tweet asking for some fan questions, some Twitter questions.
Uh-oh.
You mind taking a few of those?
Let's
Here we
do
go. Adrian wants to know, who's your favorite Seahawk of all time?
Oh yeah. Well, it's got to be Marshawn for me. Just I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. He's quick, run through somebody's face, etc.
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely. Brendan has more of a football question. He wants to know about red zone struggles and what you guys could do to improve in the red zone.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the story of the offense this year is we've got to run the ball a little bit better in the red zone. When you can do that, that opens up things in the pass game and just makes it easier for you as an offense, as a play caller. The reason for that, the reason why we haven't been able to, I don't really know. I think everybody plays a part in that. I think the receivers can do a better job, going in and digging out safeties and blocking things up for the backs getting out of the backfield. But in terms of like reasons schematically, I have no idea. I just know we got to do it better.
Now, Evan has a question. I don't want to start any trouble in the locker room, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Good.
I'm a man of the fans, okay? Evan wants to know, who's a better blocker between you and DK? What a crazy question.
See, that's DK's more fun to watch block because I'm not going to drive an outside linebacker 15 yards down the field and put him on his back. I will just say out of pure pride, I'm the better blocker. Again, you can tell him I said that. However, if I was watching Sunday Night Football, I'd probably keep my eye on 14 down the field for sure.
Man, I'm not going to tell him that you said that, but Producer Katie can tell him.
Producer Katie, you got it.
Okay, I got it.
Jake, last thing to do with you here, we have 12 rapid fire, some mostly random questions. I got 1 minute on the clock, and we'll get you out of here, man. Sounds good? Here you go, Katie. You ready?
Good.
All right. Question number 1, do you collect anything?
No.
Question number 2, do you put ketchup on a hot dog?
Yes, 100%.
Number 3, do aliens exist?
No.
What about those drones over in Jersey?
No. That's a whole different deal. We can get into that. I watched a couple of TikTok videos on that last night, actually.
Number 4. Oh, we're running out of time. Number 4, Pearl Jam or Nirvana?
Nirvana.
Number 5, can you count to 10 in a random order?
Yes. You want me to do it right now?
If you want to, you can try.
2, 1, 4, 3, 6, 5, 10, 7, 8, 9.
I think
I
so.
went 8, 9.
Number 6, what's your halftime snack?
Peanut butter and jelly and a banana.
Number 7, why number 19?
Oh, my dad and my dad's dad wore 19.
Very cool. Number 8, how many tattoos?
Ooh.
Oh, we're actually out of time.
4, 5. That's
okay.
It's got to be longer than a minute.
Number 9, pancakes, waffles, or French toast? Got 3 left.
Waffles.
We're gonna make number 10, what's the last regular job you had?
Camp counselor.
Number 11, what other sports do you play?
Play currently?
Or just in your life? I don't know.
I was a basketball player. Ran track a little bit. Played a little lacrosse.
Imagine Counselor Jake just stuffing you on the basketball court at camp. Okay.
Happened multiple times.
Last one, Jake. Number 12. What's your favorite fruit?
Oh, grapes. You know the grapes that taste like cotton candy? They're like cotton candy flavored. You ever had those?
Yeah.
Those are good.
Jake Bobo, thanks for sitting down, man. Thanks for having fun
Yeah,
with us.
absolutely.
But go get them this weekend, man. Give them some hell. We'll be rooting for you.
Do it.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Later, buddy.
All
There he goes, everybody. What a good sport. Up with my ridiculous random questions. Oh, we forgot to have him break it down.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I saw him looking off screen, and I know they barely have any time. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But shout out to him. Just like every single Seahawk that sits down, producer Katie, they're all awesome and cool dudes. And we've been hearing from a lot of you guys out there that you like getting to know them and getting to know them as people more than just having the X's and O's questions. So thanks for watching our interviews and thanks for sharing those with your friends and sending them around. It's pretty cool. Shout out to Bet Online, Epic Seats, Simply Seattle, Delta, and our merch store, alldaybrand.co. There's specific shirts for specific games. There's just regular all-day merch. There's the sort of homage shirts that pay tribute to local Seattle sort of brands and images. So go check it out. It's alldaybrand.co, everybody. Follow us on social media at alldayfamily on Instagram and at alldaypod on Twitter. We love you. We'll see you live after the games on Sunday night at 9 p.m. going live, taking your questions, taking your comments for as long as you want to be there. Tell your friends to join us and let's set another record this weekend in viewership. Bye for now. Katie, you want to break it down? You want to break it down for us? Come on, put your hand in the middle. Break it down for us then.
Bobo Mojo on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Bobo Mojo!